So apparently, carrying yourself like a luxury brand makes you powerful? Sure, because when I see Gucci, I don't think of overpriced sneakers, I think of deep psychological presence. God, what happened to humanity? I spent decades writing about archetypes, the shadow, the collective unconscious, and now here you are, watching a YouTube video that tells you to walk around like a Louis Vuitton bag. That's not psychology, sweetheart. That's just capitalism with a yoga mat. But fine, let's play this ridiculous game. Let's pretend for a moment that presence, influence, magnetism, whatever word they're selling you today, comes from imagining yourself as a Rolex, instead of, doing actual inner work. Do you realize how absurd this sounds? Carry yourself like a luxury brand. So, limited availability, overpriced and manufactured in sweatshops? Yes, very aspirational. I'm sure your aura will sparkle just like a diamond mined by child labor. Here's the truth nobody in this Manifest Luxury Presence video wants to tell you. The only reason brands seem powerful is because marketing departments spent billions convincing you they are. And now you're convinced you can hack your way into charisma by copying a Chanel campaign. That's not presence, that's cosplay. Do you know who actually had presence? Mandela, Oprah, Nietzsche, when he walked into a bar looking like he hadn't showered in 3 months, but still managed to terrify everyone. Presence is earned. It's forged in pain, solitude, confrontation with your own bullshit. It doesn't come from imagining you're a Prada handbag floating across the room. But oh, YouTube loves to feed you this self-help junk food. Move through the world with intentionality, guard your energy, embody your rare essence. What the hell does that even mean? Guard your energy? From what? Wi-Fi? Vampires? Your cousin Becky who texts too much? This isn't psychology, it's horoscopes with a fancier font. You want to know why people pay attention when some individuals walk into a room? It's not because they're channeling Cartier, it's because they actually believe their own worth. And you don't get that from a video, you get that from staring into the abyss of your insecurities until they blink first. Take Oprah. People told her she wasn't fit for television. She didn't cry into a vision board or whisper affirmations about being a rare pearl. She worked, she failed, she got back up, and she became undeniable. That's presence. You don't need velvet ropes or brand metaphors to get there. You need resilience, clarity, and yes, a giant middle finger to everyone who said you couldn't. But no, let's water that down for YouTube and say it's all about carrying yourself like a luxury brand, because nothing screams empowerment like turning your humanity into a Louis Vuitton ad. And let's talk about this obsession with rarity. Do you know why rare things are valuable? Because people can't have them. Which is ironic because you're literally sitting here giving away your time, attention, and dignity to a YouTube video, begging you to hit the subscribe button. You want to be rare? Log off. Go outside. Touch some grass. That's rarer than pretending you're Chanel No. 5 while doom scrolling Instagram at 2 a.m. And don't even get me started on the pearl story. Oh yes, the guy who gave away pearls in the market and no one cared until he put them behind glass with a price tag. Revolutionary metaphor. Except here's the catch. You are not pearls. You're a human being. If you need to hide behind glass and a fake sense of scarcity to feel valuable, congratulations, you've just turned yourself into a mall kiosk. People don't respect you because you're rare. They respect you because you're real, or because you're holding a baseball bat. Both work. So let me save you time. You don't need to carry yourself like a luxury brand. You don't need to whisper mantras about being a Rolex. You don't need to cultivate the silence of a $10,000 Swiss watch. What you need is to stop giving a shit about other people's approval long enough to realize you don't need to perform. True power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It doesn't post thirst traps disguised as self-love.
It just exists. And if you're still sitting here waiting for YouTube to tell you how to glow like Cartier, then congratulations. You're not rare, you're predictable. And predictable is the cheapest brand of all. All right, now let's talk about these so-called 5 keys to embodying rare presence. You know, the kind of clickbait you'd expect to hear from a guy in a rented suit selling crypto at a Holiday Inn conference room. Key number 1, know your worth. Wow, incredible, groundbreaking. I've only heard that phrase printed on about 3 million throw pillows at Target. Know your worth? Of course you should. But let's be real. Most people shouting, know your worth, are also the ones Googling, am I attractive, at 2 a.m. after their situationship left them on red. This isn't wisdom. It's the psychological equivalent of telling someone to hydrate. Key 2, guard your energy. Oh, I love this one. Guard your energy like it's a bank vault. Meanwhile, you're blowing it all scrolling TikTok until your eyes bleed, listening to strangers explain how to manifest a boyfriend with a crystal shoved under your pillow. Guard your energy? Please. Most people would sell their energy for a free trial of Spotify Premium. Key 3, move with intention. Fantastic. Nothing like some vague, mystical advice that can mean literally anything. Move with intention? How? Should I walk to the fridge with a spiritual aura? Should I tie my shoes like it's a sacred ritual? YouTube loves this stuff because it sounds profound while saying absolutely nothing. You're not moving with intention, you're just walking. Unless you're about to rob a bank, stop pretending your footsteps are a TED Talk. Key 4, be selective with your presence. Translation, ignore people. Which, ironically, is the only advice in this video that actually makes sense. Do less, talk less, be around fewer people. But let's be honest, if you really were selective with your presence, you wouldn't be here watching a 20-minute video narrated over stock footage of slow-motion sunsets. You'd be living your life. Instead, you're taking notes like, wow, maybe I am like a luxury brand. Maybe I am Chanel. No, honey, you're watching YouTube in sweatpants. That's not rare. That's Tuesday. Key 5, silence is power. Ah, yes, the dramatic finale, the silence as luxury trick. Because apparently if you just shut up, people will think you're profound. No, sometimes silence just means you don't have anything to say. There's a difference between commanding presence and forgot your lines. But fine, let's all pretend that sitting quietly in a corner makes you powerful. If that's true, then congratulations, your socially anxious cousin at Thanksgiving is basically Buddha. And can we talk about how these keys always come packaged like luxury marketing campaigns? Rare, exclusive, sacred. Newsflash, you're not sacred, you're human. You sweat, you fart, you binge-watch reality TV. Stop branding yourself like you're Hermes. It's exhausting. True presence doesn't come from scarcity or packaging. It comes from being real enough that people feel you even when you're not trying. But that doesn't sell YouTube ads, does it? Look, I get it. You want to feel powerful. You want to feel like the world notices when you walk into a room. But here's the thing. People will notice if you have substance, if you stand for something, if you live with conviction. Not because you whispered affirmations about being rare into your bathroom mirror while applying overpriced serum. Presence is not a lifestyle aesthetic. It's a byproduct of being unapologetically yourself. And unfortunately, that's way harder than buying into this 5-step luxury fantasy. So yeah, keep memorizing your 5 keys to luxury presence if it makes you feel better. But don't forget, Prada bags get scuffed, Rolex watches break, and even Louis Vuitton goes on sale.
If your entire self-worth hinges on pretending to be a brand, then congratulations, you've just turned your humanity into seasonal merchandise. And nothing loses value faster than last season's collection. You want the truth? Presence isn't something you can buy, manifest, or fake with buzzwords. But of course,
That's exactly what YouTube wants you to believe. Because the more insecure you are, the longer you'll watch. And the longer you watch, the more ads they can shove down your throat. These luxury brand presence videos are just fast food for your soul. Cheap, greasy, and guaranteed to clog your self-esteem arteries. You're not cultivating power, you're binge-eating empty calories. And then you come back hungry for more because the validation wore off 5 minutes later. It's the psychological equivalent of a McDonald's Happy Meal. Fun for 3 bites, regret for the rest of the day. But here's what really kills me. They try to dress it up like it's profound. Like they're whispering sacred wisdom passed down through the ages. No, darling, it's just rebranded Instagram captions. Be rare. Guard your energy. Move with intention. You could print that on a $5 notebook at TJ Maxx and nobody would notice the difference. And yet here we are, with millions of views, thousands of comments, women and men alike swearing their lives were changed because a faceless narrator told them to act like a pearl in a glass box. A pearl! Let me remind you, pearls are literally sand irritations stuck in an oyster. That's your symbol of luxury? A sea creature's allergic reaction? Congratulations! You've just built your self-worth on seafood mucus. And don't get me wrong, silence, restraint, confidence, all of that can be powerful. But the moment you package it as a lifestyle aesthetic, you've lost the plot. Presence doesn't come from trying to look rare, it comes from being comfortable enough not to care. You think Oprah moved with intention because she read a YouTube transcript? No, she moved with intention because she was busy working her ass off while everyone else was too busy doubting her. Mandela didn't step out of prison with luxury brand energy. He stepped out with scars, with conviction, with the kind of presence you only get after nearly 3 decades in a cell. That's presence. And it doesn't fit into a 5-step listicle narrated over stock footage of a woman sipping coffee in a linen shirt. The problem with these videos is that they keep selling you shortcuts. Do this, think that, act this way, and suddenly you'll command attention. But shortcuts don't build substance. Shortcuts build facades, and facades always crack. You can't fake weight. You can't fake depth. People feel it. They feel when you're trying too hard. They feel when your silence is forced instead of grounded. They feel when you're performing presence instead of living it. It's like wearing counterfeit Gucci. From a distance, it looks convincing. Up close, everyone can tell it's fake. And once they realize, you lose all credibility. What really gets me is how predictable it all is. You click the video because you want to feel valuable. The video tells you you're valuable, but in a way that keeps you dependent on more content. Then you leave feeling slightly inflated, slightly better, like you've just taken a small shot of validation. And then the next time you feel insecure, you're back for another hit. This isn't empowerment. This is addiction. The drug isn't cocaine, it's content. And the dealer is the algorithm. And if you think I'm being harsh, ask yourself this. If you really knew your worth, would you even be here? Would you really need Carl Jung's ghost telling you to protect your energy like a luxury brand? No, you'd be too busy living your life. You'd be out there making mistakes, failing, learning, building presence the hard way, the real way. Presence isn't earned on YouTube. Presence is earned in the messy, uncomfortable, awkward chaos of actual life. But no, here we are, pretending that walking into a room with luxury brand energy is going to change everything. Newsflash, it won't. You know what actually gets people to respect you? Boundaries. Not the Instagram quote version of boundaries, but the real ugly kind. The kind where you tell your best friend, no, I don't want to babysit your dog this weekend. The kind where you leave a job that pays well but slowly kills you. The kind where you stop dating losers because you'd rather be alone than waste your time. That's luxury brand presence. Not pearls, not Gucci, not Rolex.
Just boundaries. And here's the kicker. People might hate you for it. They'll call you arrogant, cold, selfish. Do you know why? Because your boundaries inconvenience them. And people who've benefited from your lack of boundaries will always resist when you suddenly grow a spine. That's the real test. Can you hold your ground when it makes other people uncomfortable? That's presence. Not smiling less, not sitting in silence like you're meditating in a Dior campaign, just being willing to stand in your truth when it pisses people off. Do you know who actually understands this? Keanu Reeves. The man barely talks, barely posts, barely gives interviews. And yet, everyone respects him. Why? Because he's not trying. He's not selling his soul for attention. He's not cultivating presence. He's just living in a way that feels honest to him. And people feel it. That's presence. Not curated, not packaged, not branded, just real. So let's be brutally honest. If you need a video to tell you how to embody luxury energy, you're already cheapening yourself. You're making yourself common by needing the validation in the first place. True presence is rare, precisely because so few people have the guts to live without validation. You want to be Chanel? Stop asking the internet if you're Chanel. Chanel never asked. Chanel never begged. Chanel just existed. And the world adjusted. And maybe that's the point. Maybe presence isn't about being rare. Maybe it's about being so damn real that nobody can ignore you. Rare isn't silence. Rare isn't guarding your energy like it's a coupon code. Rare is authenticity in a world addicted to performance. Rare is being yourself without apology in a culture that profits off your insecurity. Rare is being unshakable when the world demands you tremble. So yeah, go ahead, watch more videos about carrying yourself like a luxury brand, whisper affirmations into your mirror, post captions about your rare energy, do whatever makes you sleep at night. But don't confuse that with real presence. Real presence doesn't need captions. Real presence doesn't need metaphors. Real presence doesn't need me, Carl Jung, dragged out of the grave to validate your self-worth. It just is. So here's your final takeaway. You don't need to be a luxury brand. You don't need to be rare. You don't need to be a pearl in a box. You need to be yourself, fully, unapologetically, relentlessly. That's it. That's the whole damn secret. And if you don't like that answer, well, then I guess I'll see you in the next video about 7 archetypal hacks to unlock your divine feminine aura. Because nothing says empowerment like binge-watching self-help clickbait until your laptop dies. Now, do me a favor. If you actually laughed or cringed or realized for even 1 second how ridiculous all this is, hit the like button. Not because I care, remember, I'm still dead, but because the algorithm does. Subscribe if you want more roasts of videos that take themselves way too seriously. And leave a comment telling me which luxury brand best describes your personality. Spoiler, most of you are probably IKEA. Affordable, functional, falls apart after 2 years. But hey, at least you're self-assembled. This has been your ghostly reminder that presence isn't Gucci, it's guts. It's not Rolex, it's resilience. It's not Cartier, it's character. And if you can't tell the difference, then you're not a luxury brand, you're a clearance sale. See you in the next roast.